forgive me, Frankie, for I have sinned. This speech is not memorized.
Oh.
Also, I would like to say, while I may have potentially sacrificed the opportunity to be a normal child, I don't think I was ever normal, Dana, unfortunately. But, to explain that story, growing up as the only child in my house, my parents were consistent and long-suffering audiences to the ramblings of whatever the younger Zach wanted to talk about that day, be it obscure facts about cars, geography, or the assortment of useless facts I had attained through watching YouTube videos. But after I grew a bit older, and I started to realize my relatives' waning capacity to listen to my ramblings, I decided that I needed to, A, become a more compelling speaker, and B, find a larger audience for me to express my opinions to. So, I became part of the FDT family 5 years ago, looking to hone that propensity for yapping that is so common amongst us all into a refined skill set. And while FDT definitely did instill that, there's definitely a number of other things that FDT is responsible for within me. That is broadening my worldview, that is thinking critically and connecting me with some of the best people that I've ever had the privilege of meeting. But to talk about FDT and its own specific resources, and by the way, like all persuasive speeches I've ever written, Frankie, this is going over time. So, Arsalan has been coaching me since I was in grade 8, and I think it is just very surprising, the fact that you were able to put up with me for so long, especially, you're nodding? Especially as a coach of Team Canada, because think about it. To have someone of such a high skill level be able to make feedback so approachable to someone without experience is truly special. And that's something that I've always liked and, very much appreciated about FDT. The fact that the feedback and guidance will grow with you, that they can give feedback, each instructor, that can make a novice finally understand some key concepts, but can make a world champion still realize where they have room to grow. So people like Arsalan, Babod, Noah, Abigail, Rhodey, Alexander, and everybody else that's coached me throughout the years are all responsible for this. I also think that just generally to all the debaters, remember that coaches want you to succeed. This will be a brief piece of advice. And so don't take pieces of criticism in classes as something to be discouraging. Take it in stride. Recognize that they wouldn't be giving that feedback to you if they didn't think you could apply it and improve. So take it in stride and use it as an opportunity for growth. Never forget that each class is an opportunity to take risks and to get one step closer to being the best debater that you can be. Also note that FDT's resources and support have also just been beyond amazing. I can't count the number of rounds that I've been able to win because of random facts I pulled out from going through the reading list. Please use it. FDT's constantly updating tournament list was also something that was a bit intimidating to me for a time when I began. But recognize that there's no better way to get better at public speaking and debate than just doing it. Yes, you're going to sacrifice a weekend. But if you have the right mentality, you can make it something that is better than hanging out with your friends most of the time. So we think, what am I? I'm not in a speech right now. Pace myself. So the mentality that you have to have is not that you're going to come into everything and win, because ultimately no outcome is ever guaranteed, even if you are the best debater in the world. And so it's crucial to come in and just expect growth, because your growth and improvement is the only outcome that you can guarantee. Probably the best piece of advice I ever received on this was actually from Frankie right as I was beginning and experiencing those tough losses, which especially as a junior debater are uniquely difficult to deal with. And the advice was, to put it simply, play the odds. Just get better, and eventually things are going to start working out. If you go to enough tournaments, you're going to have enough successes. And when you start thinking about it in the big picture, not thinking about each tournament like this next insurmountable challenge, what you're going to recognize is that looking back in your debate career like I am right now, you're going to see those small failures as annoying, but ultimately important stepping stones on the path to the successes, which become far sweeter with all of that adversity. Also, let's talk now just for a moment about FDT's and how it's impacted my personal journey. So, as with a lot of debaters starting out, those early losses can be crushing. And you might call them unfair, but recognize that debate is ultimately an art of persuasion. This is something I had to learn the hard way through countless losses that a younger, less mature self, younger, less mature self, deemed unfair. But what I realized over time is that ultimately debate is the art of persuasion. If you don't persuade, you lose. And so what that got me to think is that even after rounds where I disagreed with the outcome, even after feedback in group classes that I didn't think was totally applicable, and I didn't think that some of my strengths were being highlighted, you still have to listen. Because even through feedback that you disagree with, you can find something to improve on. Some things that you may not have even noticed. And even if you personally think that you did them well, recognize that if you're receiving that feedback, it didn't connect. So as advice for all the debaters out there, take feedback in stride, see everything as an opportunity for growth, keep persevering. Also, to talk about the skills that debate has brought me, not only is it seeing different perspectives and broadening my worldview, but it's being a more compelling speaker. It's being able to consider things through a multitude of different lenses. And irrespective of any outcome of any tournament, those are skills that no one can ever take away from you. So if you're ever considering not continuing with debate or considering giving up because of a tournament outcome, recognize just how silly that is. Because the skills that debate teaches you and public speaking as well are truly indispensable. So keep pushing through because, trust me, I cannot count how many English essays have become a lot easier. How many interviews I've been able to get through without breaking a sweat because of debate and public speaking training. These skills are unbelievably cross-applicable. But as for the least expected reason I've become to love debate, it's the people. I mean, we've all heard about this from a number of people throughout this evening, but the fact that FDT is truly a family is something that keeps me coming back to it. Because recognize that debate attracts a particular type of person. Someone that is generally good at talking, compelling, probably has opinions on a number of things, and is very passionate. And so that person is a recipe, not only for a good debater, but for a lifelong friend. I've met tons of people who are super passionate that I'm sure will go on to do great things. And yes, while the debate community outside of FDT is not perfect, there is toxicity. It requires you to choose positivity, to see the good in people, to not get yourself involved in things like gossip or talking other debaters down. If you choose positivity and become the best person that you can be in the debate community, the right people will come to you and you'll find your people. I know I have, and I think the same is true for all of you. And this is especially true if you get to travel, like I did back in 2023 for the World Individual Debate and Public Speaking Championship. I met people from several different countries, and that experience is something that will expose you to so many different views, perspectives, and cultures. Stuff that can not only help you better understand your place in the world and other people and how they behave, but also better understand yourself when you start interacting with such diverse and fascinating people. So, I don't really have a conclusion for this, but like most speeches I tend to write, and I can't end it with just proud to propose or oppose, so thank you, FDT.